Much bliss and many blessings, so family. I love you all. I hope everyone's doing well today. I'm going to read a little bit from Christopher D. Wallace, Harish Wallace's Tantra Illuminated. No, Fifi. Go. Lay down there. So my last video that I made was about the Antahkarana, which is the inner tool. Get off of that. Which is the inner tool, or the tool of the individual mind. So this on this chart, this is explaining the 36 emanation of the 36 tattvas of non-dual Shaiva Tantra. And this little area right here, this one actually doesn't have chitta, but this is the area that we're talking about. I'm going to go ahead and go to Buddhi, which is not Buddhi, it's Buddhi. But we're going to read about this in both the non-dual Shaiva Tantra tradition and also in Sankhya. So, Buddhi, Tattva 14, discerning faculty, commonly translated as intellect. This is the most important mental faculty for all schools of yoga philosophy. It is a key term in the Bhagavad Gita and the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. The Buddhi is the faculty of reason by which we formulate conceptions and make decisions and judgments. Also, the power of imagination. It is most importantly for yogis, the faculty of discernment, by which we decide what is beneficial for us and what is not. Abhinavagupta argues that discernment, Tarka, or Viveka, is the highest of all the limbs of yoga, and the only one that directly leads to liberation. The most important form of discernment on the spiritual path, he tells us, is discerning between what is to be held close, upadaya or daya, and what is to be laid aside, heya. This is what is ultimately beneficial for you and what is not. And there's the rub. What guarantee do we have that the Buddhi is accurate in its discernment? In fact, we have ample evidence of its inaccuracy, for many times we choose what we think is beneficial and it turns out not to be so. Of course, this is not a huge problem, as it seems, because of the path of tantric yoga, most, if not all, mistakes, quote-unquote, become advantages when regarded as growth opportunities. But since the learning from some mistakes is harder, more painful, and more time-consuming than strictly necessary, we wish to constantly refine and improve our ability to choose what is beneficial and thereby increase our efficiency of movement on the path. Why does this seem so difficult? In yoga philosophy, the Buddhi is impaired in its function by the presence of what are called samskaras, or the subliminal impressions of past experiences. In common Sanskrit uses, a samskara is literally an impression, like a footprint in the sand at the beach. Now, if there's a series of deep footprints and other impressions in the sand, when the tide comes in and the water flows over them, it will flow differently than as if the sand were perfectly smooth. In precisely the same way, when the energy of the world flows through your mind, it is affected by the deep impressions and past experiences that are lodged there, and therefore, it flows differently for you than someone else. Thus, based on our past experience, or our experience of the past, we formulate projections and make assumptions that too often are misaligned with the reality of the present. Our brains are good at pattern matching, perhaps too good, for even a superficial resemblance of the current situation to a past situation will cause you to unconsciously assume that the present is like the past in most of the details. This act of unconsciously projecting the past onto the present is the primary reason we are unable to be aware of the reality of our current situation as it is, and therefore make good choices, so the presence of sanskars impair the natural ability of the Buddhi to discern what is beneficial and what is not. The spiritual path is very much about developing clear visions, about cultivating the ability to see things as they really are. In classical yogic philosophy, the practice of yoga, especially meditation, have the primary purpose of dissolving the samskaras, these impressions, in order to bring about this clear vision and the clear discernment that results from it. The analogy that is often given is that of polishing a dirty mirror. When, through yoga, the mirror of the Buddhi becomes clear, it can perfectly reflect the light of the divine self. Thus, the more you practice yoga, the more accurate your intuition and discernment become. Sometimes people think great yoga masters can read minds or have other psychic abilities. In fact, they just see with much less obstruction, something so rare in our world that it seems like a magical or psychic power. And indeed, knowledge is power, the only kind that cannot be taken away. The yoga master with a purified buddhi can always see the most beneficial course of action in any given situation, giving him or her a great power to change situations and uplift human beings. Of course, if this accurate power of discernment is used to build and reinforce a new spiritual ego, then it will become a pitfall. Finally, we should note that in the tantric philosophy, the buddhi is not localized in the brain but extends throughout the body. Thus, samskaras of different kinds are attributed throughout the body and can be released in the physical as well as the mental practices of yoga. We experience the buddhi on different levels of the body. For example, when we speak of the gut instinct, we refer to an aspect of the buddhi's intentionality associated with the very deep, unconscious samskaras, which we tend to feel in the viscera, the enteric nervous system. However, without the practice of yoga, the gut instinct in which we place so much trust might in fact be based in fear and lead us badly astray. So this is from Christopher Harish Wallace's Tantra Illuminated. And this is speaking of non-dual Shiva Tantra. Okay, this is from Tattva from the Bihar School of Yoga by Swami Satyasangananda. Buddhi, which is also known as Mahat, or the Great Principle, is said to be the faculty closest to pure consciousness. When Buddhi is turned towards the enjoyment of several pleasures, it causes bondage of the soul. But when it is endowed with dispassion, the soul turns towards liberation. In daily life, it is the Buddhi that motivates you to act in accordance with your dharma, or vocation. Any act judged with precision and accuracy is on account of the power and influence of Buddhi, or the higher intellect. At the higher level, Buddhi reflects itself through pragya, intuition, or vairagya, dispassion. Although these sublime qualities are inherent in Buddhi, under the influence of Maya, and due to its association with ego, senses, and the three gunas, these qualities are often altered. The characteristics of the Sattvic Buddhi are wisdom, dispassion, reasoning, endurance, serenity, self-control, discrimination, and contemplation. In the Sattvic state, Buddhi is without oscillation and assumes the role of Sakshi, the witness. Due to the influence of Rajas, defects arise, and as a result, Buddhi is unable to discriminate, and the decisions are often contaminated by false knowledge and avidya, or ignorance. Tamasic Buddhi comes under the sway of ego and is clouded by the false information and false judgments. In the practice of Tattva, we meditate on the sattvic nature of Buddhi, so that the tamasic and rajasic tendencies, which are not its true nature and which prevent sattvic Buddhi from operating, are removed. Thus, the experience of being the silent witnesser, or sakshi, is accentuated. Okay, it's about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one so I can put this on TikTok. But I love you guys. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. This is about Buddhi, one of the 4 compartments of the Antahkarana. I love you all. Hope everyone's doing well. Peace and blessings.